He was hoping to expand his
Chief,
base to have the
there, Em?
edge by the end of Tuesday.
Can.
You're listening
All
to
right, that's
ABC
Emily
News.
talking in your ear.
There are still no confirmed
That's
coronavirus
the
cases
next
in Ohio.
sheriff
The state
of
health
Fairfield
department
County.
is keeping an eye on
Oh,
three
awesome.
suspected cases.
Right.
These three major events
All
scheduled
right,
for
we'll catch you in a
Cleveland
sec.
in the
Okay.
next couple of weeks will still go on despite the threat of the coronavirus. They are the Mid-American Conference basketball tournament next week, and then the week after the city's St. Patrick's Day parade and the first and second round games in the NCAA basketball tournament. Police in the Cincinnati area have shot and killed a man.
The trouble started at the Timber Hollow Apartments near Dixie Highway in Fairfield on Friday around noon. Fairfield police say there was a continuing domestic battle involving a couple. The man involved allegedly showed a gun during a confrontation with police, who then shot him. The man died on the scene. No police officers were injured, and they are on paid leave until the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation completes its probe. No name has been released on the person who was shot. I'm Matt Reese.
A lot of us hate it when we spring forward because it messes up our sleep pattern. Dr. Harneet Walia of Cleveland Clinic says a little preparation can help in this particular case.
We recommend few days earlier the time change is supposed to occur. Start going to bed 15 to 30 minutes earlier than your usual time. That way your body will adapt slowly but surely when that time change occurs.
She says if you want to be able to go to sleep, keep your room dark, and don't look at your smartphone, the light can actually cut your melatonin levels. An Akron area woman has given birth to quintuplets. Hannah Merton of Barberton and her husband Jake are now the proud parents of 3 girls and 2 boys. The children were born at Akron Children's Hospital. The births were announced by family members on social media. For more news, listen to The Daily Dive. The big news stories explained, not shouted. Listen to The Daily Dive each day on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. I'm Tom Moore.
Filling your news feed with the top trending news at the top and bottom of the hour. Columbus's news is on News Radio 610 WTBN.
Make mealtime easy and delicious with Bob Evans side dishes like mashed potatoes and mac and cheese. They're made with real milk, butter, cheese, and potatoes and are ready in the microwave in 6 minutes. Try Bob Evans sides from your grocery store. It'll be love at first bite.
Always fun for me when I go to Allen's Coin Shop. Run into so many different people doing so many different things. I mean, some people come to Allen's because they need a little scratch. Yeah, maybe they inherited a few pieces from dad or grandpa, or maybe it's just, look, I'm a little short this month, so here's a few things I need to sell so I can come up with some cash. And Allen's is always there for you on that. Other people like me looking to add to their collections. Maybe it's U.S. coins, it's world coins, it's gold, it's silver. I just want to paw through the big kettle of wheat pennies, or I want to dig in that world coin treasure chest. See what I can find. So many different ways to collect, and now 60 years, Allen's has been taking care of people in Central Ohio. So look, if you need a little money and you've got stuff to sell, stop by Allen's. Top prices, that's what they pay every day. And if you're like me and you're looking to add to your collection, shop online at allensinc.com, or do what I love to do, stop in the shop, State Street in Westerville, and see what they've got today. Allen's Coin Shop, serving collectors since 1960.
Live from LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, this is On Target, the latest from the firearms industry, the products and politics that affect your hobby and liberty. This program may not be politically correct, but it is On Target. Now, your host, Eric Delbert.
Good afternoon. Welcome to On Target. I'm your host, Eric, joined today in the LAPD studios with my father, Co-owner Phil. He sits to my left. We're broadcasting live from LAPD Firearms Range and Training. That's at 999 Bethel Road. If you've never been here, it's a great little place to come by and see. If you're watching on Facebook, you're getting a preview, like last week, of the new set. And so it looks like we're not even there. But go ahead and pull it back there, D. Wow, isn't that neat? Oh, there we are. There you are, Ed.
I'm not here.
Huh? You're not here? No,
Nope.
I still see you now. So, got all your buttons there hit. So, guys, it is that time for the weekly Who Said That? And this is something that we've been doing every week. And there's so much out there with politicians saying stuff and news media saying stuff. This one is not necessarily firearms related, but we're going to bring it back around because it goes to show you how the media oftentimes doesn't let facts get in the way of a news story, and doesn't actually they just don't do a very good job in fact-checking. So listen to this 45-second soundbite that just played this week, and we'll get back to you on who said that. Go ahead, Em.
But you see it as a possibility if he wants to spend $1 billion beating this guy, he could do it.
Absolutely. Somebody tweeted recently that actually with the money he spent, he could have given every American $1 million.
I've got it. Let's put it up on the screen. When I read it tonight on social media, it kind of all became clear. Bloomberg spent $500 million on ads. U.S. population 327 million. Don't tell us if you're ahead of us on the math. He could have given each American $1 million and have had lunch money left over. It's an incredible way of putting it.
It's an incredible way of putting it. It's true. It's disturbing. It does suggest, what we're talking about here, which is there's too much money in politics. And it makes it difficult because what we want in
So if you didn't catch that, they were talking about Mayor Bloomberg, who spent a lot of money on his campaign that is now since he's terminated. And he spent over $500 million. So if you think about it, that's like, let's just say 500 piles of $1 million, right? And somehow someone on Twitter puts out there, geez, if he would have given that to the American people, that everyone, because the population is 350-some million, he could have given $1 million to everyone. So not only was that false, MSNBC, that's who said it, picked up on it. And not only did they pick up on it, Brian Williams, their main anchor, goes with it as he's interviewing one of the editors for the New York Times, who goes with it. And if you watch the video clip, it's just outrageous. They put up a pictorial of it, and they talk about here it is. Look at it right here in black and white. And if you heard her coming back and say, hey, it's the truth. And that's what goes out on air. Just like JC, just like Biden said, 150 million gun deaths in the last 5 years or 7 years. I mean, we lost
half the population.
Half the population.
Right.
It's just crazy.
Well, they were only off a little bit, Eric. It wasn't quite $1 million per person. I think we figured out it came out to $1.53 per person. So they were only off by about $1 million. Which is why MSNBC continues to be at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to accurate news. So
actually, the number was actually $1.53 per person.
$1.52.9, so just about $1.53.
Well, at least it's something. Come on.
Yeah, I'll take it.
But really, I think my wife said that he could have given that money to charity. He could have helped. He could have helped somebody with that money. But he throws it away on a campaign that he was in, for a couple weeks?
Well,
3 weeks?
But you know what, though? Think of it a different way. He's helping the economy, right? I mean, he threw that away to ads, and I mean, so that's
he's $500 million worth.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that was a little boost to the economy.
Evidently.
It was almost worthwhile. He did win one primary, Samoa.
How did that? Oh, you know why? Because I think they said he had 27 people on the ground there, and there was 157 who voted. So, yeah, I guess it's more.
Right. Okay.
So, well, we are the owners of LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility and are active law enforcement. But for 1 hour on Saturdays, we put together a group of firearm experts to discuss new products in the market, training tips, and oftentimes political topics surrounding the Second Amendment. Our commitment, though, has always been to bring you the facts about our industry and ultimately help our listeners and our customers with safe, responsible ownership of firearms. Today on the show, we're going to talk about some obvious changes that can be made in our industry to impact violence on our streets. The reason we're putting this together now is to show that safe, responsible owners of firearms and gun store owners and officers are the experts who know best about how to combat violence on the streets. It's not the ignorant politicians in the media you hear every day. Our solutions are based in facts and honesty, and today is going to be just a tease because it's actually teasing a video that we're going to be putting out soon. And the video is going to be an in-depth look at some of the things that can be done. An intellectually honest look, if you should say. So that's going to be here at 12:30, and something you're not going to want to miss. We do, though, today have a guest in the house. So sitting here to my right, and you know what? It's not just a guest in the house. we've bestowed him the honor of the gun of the week. Well, that doesn't happen very often.
No, I think you dumped it on him, Eric. You know.
Well, if you know the back end of this story, he knows your propensity, Pawpaw, to a certain type of firearm. And the way I heard this story is that he was going to bring in something to kind of taunt you with it. Mm-hmm. And so we said, you know what better way to do that than to make it the gun of the week?
Yep, and he already taunted me.
He already has?
But then I re-taunted back with it.
So that person here is, it's the, I'll tell you what, he has served the Central Ohio community for decades. He's the current chief of police at the Village of Baltimore and current candidate for sheriff of Fairfield County. So we welcome Chief Tussey here. It's great seeing you.
Well, thanks so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to come in and actually see you guys in person and be a part of the mayhem.
Well, and you know what? It's not as calm, cool, and collective as it is before we hit the buttons. But you're seeing the behind the scenes, so that's a good thing.
Now we do sign autographs, okay, and we do sign pictures also. Okay?
Right.
Now usually when we have a guest, we don't charge them. Well, we charge the public for that.
Right.
Okay. Hey, now before I forget, I got a shout out to somebody that I forgot last week, and that would be Dr. Dave Kazmersky and his wife Jackie, who are listening from Florida.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
One person at a time.
Well,
that's
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
You're not the only one from listeners in Florida. I got my brother Mike's back in Florida listening.
All right.
So I'm just going to throw that out there for you.
Mark that down, Pawpaw. 2 people listening.
But these happen to be parents of a good friend of mine who lives around the corner, and her puppy is real good friends with my puppy.
Right.
Yep.
Well, I can't beat that.
You can't do it.
We like to thank our sponsors, Rampart Hosting, Toyota West, Jackson Lawn Care and Egress Windows, the Trigger Group, Black Wing Shooting Center, River's Edge Cutlery, CNS Engraving, Clean Water Systems. Those guys are miracle workers. Stop by the store and we can show you. An LAPD training facility, all who make the show possible each week. Joining me today in the LAPD studios, actually, JC is on the phone with us. JC, you missed this week the rollout. They're here in the store now of our politically incorrect shirts. They're actually here, they're in, and we've sold a bunch of them. And if you haven't seen them on Facebook, they've been in our email blast and on Facebook. There are politically incorrect line of shirts. And on the front, it says,
Lion face. Pony boy.
Oh,
I can't remember.
Now you sound like Biden. Lying dog-faced pony soldier.
I was close. Dog-faced pony soldier.
Yeah, it was a quote from one of our
Who said that?
presidential candidates. That would be presidential candidate Joe Biden. Okay. So you can get your shirts here. We've actually sold a bunch of them, so I still see there's some over there. So definitely worth stopping by. JC, you're going to have to hurry back to get one.
I've seen them. They look really, really good. And, that was a great quote from our hopefully never to be seen again presidential candidate.
Well, I don't mind him saying that, but he plagiarized it from a John Wayne movie.
Well, now I'm hearing, though, that it came from a couple movies and it was put together. So, I mean, is it from one? Or
well,
you need to maybe do a little research on that.
I better do that, Google.
Yep. That's my father, Phil. He sits to my left. Papa, I hear that you made a little headway this week. You've been a little bit of a Facebook sensation again. You put together, I don't know how you come up with these things, what is that, 3x3 wooden?
That's about 2x2.
2x2 wooden
profile of the state of Ohio.
Right. Kind of neat, made out of
old wood from pallets. Yep. I mean, we get many pallets here. Some we can reuse. Others come with remarkable wood that's close to an inch thick, which you don't see that hardly. So I salvage it and put them together, and they're old and rustic looking.
Right, and they're neat. Yeah. We've one of our D here in the store bought one and put it on the wall and put it out there on Instagram, and all of a sudden there's people wanting them now. And Paul, we did have a request. Can you do California?
Yeah, I can do California.
How about the Hawaiian Islands?
That's many of them.
All right.
Yeah, it'd be kind of tough to put them in the right order,
All right. Yeah. So to my far right, Big Ed.
Good morning.
Ed, I know we're always trying to squeeze it in late, but you want to give a pitch for the Blue Knights ride coming up?
Sure, I will. Hey, listen, folks, we got the Blue Knight ride coming up on June 27th. Again, this year, this is our 3rd annual event, and this year we're going to be sponsoring Trooper Phillips. Many of you may remember Trooper Phillips was involved in a horrific crash on 71 from a wrong-way driver who was impaired on opiates. So this year we're going to do the ride and start off at Farrell's Harley-Davidson and end at Farrell's Harley-Davidson. We got the raffle tickets out for sale. We're going to have a lot of fun over there at the dealership. And all the money we raise is going to go to the Trooper Phillips to help him with his rehab and getting back to good condition. So we would love to see everybody come out there and get ready for it.
And you still, can I ride on the back of your bike too?
No,
is that a no-go?
No.
Yep.
All right.
You had your choice.
Eric and I had bikes, but the problem is you guys would take freeways, and we don't do freeways.
No, that wasn't the
we
problem.
We do back roads.
The problem is you never got it out of the garage.
Well, that was a problem too.
Wait, all right. Hey, Ed. How many times have we laid it down? All right.
I don't know. I wasn't around you guys enough to see you ride it to see that happen.
How many times did you lay it
down?
But
when you're only going 15 or 20, it's not much of a lay
What
down.
was your recent
my
one?
recent one? My recent one was I lost the balance of my bike and it went over on my ankle. That wasn't a lay down. That was a tip over, not a lay down. The one before that, I was hit by a car. Or a truck, I should say.
Well, you should have been more careful.
Well, when they turn left in front of you, it's kind of hard.
Sitting here to my right is our guest for the day, Chief Mike Tussey. So, Chief, you have you actually started in law enforcement, started serving the community right back at Fairfield County, right? Around 1980?
Sheriff's Department was there in 79 till 80, and then left there in 80 to Lancaster. Police
7 years
Department.
at Lancaster, it looked like.
7 years.
And then 20 years at Westerville PD. We need to talk later about our chief.
I can tell you stories.
All right, I know. And then 13 years as the current chief of the city or the village of Baltimore. And now you're running for sheriff for Fairfield County.
Yes.
No one would blame you at this point to say, you know what, I have served my community well. I am just going to, enjoy retirement. What drives you? I mean, why, that seems like another big challenge. Why at this point?
Well, there's a couple things, and to put it into context, I guess, is when you get into this business, as most officers would tell you, you're not in it or shouldn't be in it for your own self-worth or whatever. You're there because you want to help. You want to think you can solve a problem. What I've seen over the past few years is such an uptick in the opiate problems, the heroin problems, the meth problems. We started a group in Baltimore called Police and Citizens United to help people get into treatment. I had so many phone calls from people that said, look, things are not going the way we think they should go in the county. They're not. We're not staying into the 21st century mindset, and we have seen what you've done. We've seen your work with the legislator to change the law on predators, children, people that prey on children, and we would like you to consider this. And I'll be honest with you, it took a lot of talks with my wife and my family and a lot of friends, and your chief being one of them, and they all said, yeah, you've still got a lot to give, and if you're capable to give, then why wouldn't you? And I think maybe that's exactly what it comes down to. If I didn't think that I could make things better for everybody in that county, then you're absolutely right. I could very easily hop on my motorcycle and ride around a lot and do that. But I get up every day, and I'm the luckiest man in the world because I wake up and I go, I get to go to work today, and I get to go do something that I've done for over 40 years, and I love every minute of it. And it's been a great
There's
life.
a lot to be said for that, and Fairfield County will be blessed to have you. I mean, that would be a great thing, and with all your experience, and
well, thank you.
We hope that all comes through. So, and you're going to sit with us the rest of the day today, and you have the gun of the week coming up after the break here.
Perfect.
So I'll give you that's the lead in. When we come back from the break, we're going to get to the Chiefs gun of the week, get to a little bit of news. We're on target, broadcasting live from the studios of LEPD Firearms and Range. We'll be right back after the break.
Good afternoon, Facebook fans. I keep saying good morning because I just got up a little bit ago. So, Jeff Maxwell, how you doing today? Deb Sanders, how are you? My daughter's listening. Jessica, good to see you out there, honey, on Facebook. Steve Holbrook, how are you, buddy? Mike Schultz, checking in. Good morning to you all. Zane Donaldson, hello, Zane, one of my Blue Knight men. And Mike Conley. Hope you're all doing fine today. Hope everybody's able to find us on Facebook and hear us well. I know we've had some issues in the past, but I think we got them all worked out. Anybody else want to check in with us or call into the show? Eric, what's that phone number? I can't read it from here. Go ahead and load up. What's that phone number?
614-821-9886. Hey, what's the temp there, Em?
It is 38.
Gotcha.
That doesn't seem
Dark
right.
brown.
So I just
Bob?
checked my phone. It's 43.
It's 43.
Yeah, this doesn't. I was like, that doesn't seem right.
Well, I thought you had everything under control in there.
I know. I know. It's one of those days.
Chief, we got some people checking in that you might know. Looks like Tabitha Deeds says hello. Bob Sheraton says go Mike Tussey. Yep.
If you or a loved one are a victim of a surgical or anesthesia mistake, brain injury or paralysis, birth injury, late diagnosis or cerebral palsy, or wrongful death, Elk & Elk's medical team uncovers medical mistakes. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO.
Here at ABC6, first warning weather for today, becoming mostly sunny, dry and cool, high of 46. Tonight, clear, skies clear, dry and chilly, low of 28. For Sunday, lots and lots of sunshine. It's going to be nice and warm, high of 60. Currently 43 degrees on your severe weather station, News Radio 610 WTVN.
News headlines and where Columbus comes to talk. News Radio 610 WTVN.
He better be sitting next to you.
Yeah, he is. He is sitting right here next to me today.
Can you believe it? He's finally on stage.
Let it play. Let it play.
Don't sing, Phil.
You know the problem, Paul, with letting it play?
What?
Is if it plays over a certain time period, we get hit with copyright violations.
Oh, man.
So,
Okay.
so that's it. It's done.
Thank you, Emily.
Welcome back to On Target. I'm your host, Eric, joined today in the LEPD studios. On camera there was Paul, my father, Phil, sits to my left. Big Ed sits to my far right.
What's
JC is on the phone with us, and our special guest, Chief Mike Tussey, sits to my immediate right. Before we go further and stuff, I probably should tell you, if you missed the show, you can always catch the podcast. It's at 610WTVN.com. It's on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, and now Facebook. Facebook is a great place to watch it. I actually watched it back yesterday on the treadmill, so it's a great place to watch the show if you miss it live. And on YouTube is out there. If you want to call in, 614-821-9886 is the number. JC, are you there with us still?
I am, of course.
Hey, we have a few minutes here. You want to hit some of that news that's late breaking?
Yeah, there's some late breaking news on now that the race is thinning out for the Democratic candidates. Unfortunately, we're still left with Biden and Bernie, but Biden has now really taken his mask off. He's complained more about firearms than about anybody else up there. The worst one was Beto O'Rourke. If you remember when he was running for president, he basically said that, hey, yes, hell yes, we are going to take your ARs and your AKs. We are going to take them by force if necessary. Well, Biden has now chosen O'Rourke to be basically his national gun czar if he gets elected president. Takes a little bit of heat off of him because he can say, yeah, we're going to deal with it. But the quote was, and this is just horrible, but he announced in Dallas, in front of the audience, he had Beto O'Rourke with him, and he said, and the quote was, you're going to take care of the gun problem with me. You're going to be the one who leads this effort. I'm counting on you. I'm counting on you. We need you badly. He would be about the worst of all the candidates I saw up there because he literally was talking about using force, not but using force to take firearms away. Well, since there's about 16 million ARs alone out there, that's going to take a lot of force. So but it's bad news for all of us. But that's where Uncle Joe Biden, crazy Uncle Joe, that's where he's coming from. So just know that. It's a serious thing. And now that, by the way, the Bloomberg's out, he said he's still going to be financing other Democratic candidates. So he's not going to be spending it on himself, but he is going to be continuing to funnel money in. So that's also not good news. We some other news that kind of surprised us, and Eric, you and I talked about this. The coronavirus seems to have had effect on ammo sales across the nation. And this came from ammo.com, and ammo.com is an online ammunition ordering service. You can buy all sorts of different ammos from them. They carry all sorts of stocks, and check out their prices online, and they ship it to you. The coronavirus, that COVID-19, when it hit, really had an effect. They saw an increase. They looked at the 11 days since February 23rd, when it was really announced that things were happening in the United States. And then they looked at the 11 days afterwards, and they found out that ammo orders increased 68%. This is a huge company that sells tons of ammo. 68% increase in 11 days. They said, yes, there's the political aspect of it, but this is the first time they said that they've ever seen like a virus. And the marketing manager said, hey, it makes a lot of sense. Not just Theraflu, but they want to keep themselves in their. Did it by percentages. And the surprise that you and I, 40 up 410% in orders during those 11 days. 223 ammo, almost twice the orders, 194%. 7.62 by 39, the popular AK round up to 114%. 9mm ammo, which is what I thought would have been the greatest, but it doubled. It was a 100% increase in sales, and 12-gauge shotguns were right there too. 12-gauge shotgun shells were up about 100%. So, the Winchester 308 5 auto both went up about a third in those 11 days. So pretty much amazing. And people chose their ammo brands. Federal ammo was up 176% in their orders. And in the states that ordered the most, North Carolina and Georgia were the two states that ordered the most ammo. Pennsylvania was third, but Ohio had a 40% increase in ammo orders during that time. So combination of political elections and this coronavirus seemed to really spike ammo sales.
Wow, and you know what, JC, we're seeing it here in the store too, with some of our bulk ammo. And we've seen it actually right now. We cannot obtain 9mm ammo. There is nothing we can't call a distributor up and have it delivered because there's none out there at the distributor level. It's crazy. I think it's gonna pass, but still, nonetheless, it's something we're dealing with.
Well, I don't know if it's going to pass till after the election.
Well, Eric, the ammo deal is, pretty significant. But what really concerns me is that there's a run on toilet paper. Toilet paper and paper towels.
It's true.
Yeah.
Did you know, I don't know if you know this, Papa, that we took the extra rolls of toilet paper out of the bathrooms
We
here
had to hide them.
because of people, the threat of them stealing them out of our own bathrooms. Not our own employee. I hope it's not our own employees.
Well, just don't look in the trunk of my car.
Wow.
You never know.
Wow. Well, that's good stuff, JC. When we come back from the bottom of the hour news, we are finally going to get to the Chief's Gun of the Week. It's sitting here now. Chief, you know that you donate the Gun of the Week. That's all part of the process. It goes into the archives of LEPD. Are you still all right with that?
Well, it's been so nice being on the show today.
When we come back, when we get to the Chief's Gun of the Week, we're on target, broadcasting live from the studios of LEPD Firearms and Range. We'll be right back after the news. Hey, Em.
Matt says ammo sales may have gone up because retailers and Walmart.
Did we have a little blurb in there? Hold on 1 second. Did we have a little blurb in there of connectivity?
Yes, just now, so you might want to unplug.
Like right this second? Or?
Yeah, now you sound good, but you just did a minute ago.
Okay, I did unplug and stuff, so is that any better then?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'm watching. I keep unplugging and plugging back in, so. All right, go ahead, Ed.
Matthew Tacrapo is saying that Walmart is no longer selling pistol ammo, and that might be part of the reason the sales are up. Because I'm sure they did sell quite a bit of ammo in all those Walmart stores.
Ed, I have a problem. There's someone on Facebook that is in the pool in the Caribbean. Did I read that right?
Yes, you did. Kim and Bill, I'm telling you, I can't believe that all the way from the Caribbean islands is checking in and telling us that they're watching us while they're in the pool.
I'm impressed.
I bet they have a cocktail in hand as well.
Just like you, Ed.
Well, everybody likes to be like Ed. Kind of like be like Mike. And then we got a lot of people checking in with support for Chief. for the new sheriff job coming up. Some of them you know, Chief. Some of them maybe just live in the area and they know of you. So that's great.
That's very kind.
Hey, Em, I'm going to do this segment kind of quick. Is that all right?
I don't care. It's your show.
That's why we love her, Chief.
Switching to radio because he's got to run his dog. Well, Mike, don't run that dog too hard. Have a good time out there. It's nice outside.
You have about 1 minute.
1 minute. Come on, Facebook fans. Let's knock this thing out of the park. Let's log in, check in. Somebody call into the show, too. We'd love to hear from you. What's the temperature outside, Em?
43. I don't know.
Did you see, Big Ed, you see CNS Engraving just joined?
Yes, I did. Always nice to see Kareem. How are you, brother? How many people we have on the show today? Checking in.
20 seconds.
Cool
Nice.
icon, too. Just can't seem to get along with their fellow legends.
Very nice.
And then we'll debate each other about who deserves.
Live from LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, this is On Target, the latest from the firearms industry, the products and politics that affect your hobby and liberty. This program may not be politically correct, but it is On Target. Now, your host, Eric Delbert.
Welcome back to On Target. I'm your host, Eric, joined today in the LAPD studios, my father, co-owner Phil. JC is on the line with us. Big Ed sits to my right, but
Hello.
to my immediate right is our guest of the day, Chief Mike Tussey. And Chief has, we've talked about it at the beginning of the hour, but has had a long career in law enforcement and is now out to serve the folks of Fairfield County running for sheriff. So
Yes.
that is, he's here with us today. And bestowed upon him is he has the gun of the week. And it is, if you're watching on Facebook, it is absolutely gorgeous. There's been, Chief, I'll let you tell everyone what you have in front of you.
Well, we're going to be talking today about the Colt Python, the old version and the new version that Colt's just released. Maybe some differences on it, some things they've tried to upgrade, and just kind of how I feel about it. The one I have, I don't know if people can see this or not, but and it's clear. But the one that I have here, I purchased in 1978. I've had it ever since. It has served me faithfully. No issues with it of any sort. Very, very happy with it, always have been. And then, of course, for a lot of reasons, they claimed a lot of it was financial. The gun kind of went away, mostly because of the cost. And they finally came back and said, well, we're gonna put this back into market. And when they did that, there was a lot of talk about cost. You know, you heard everything from $1,000 to $1,500. I'm not sure where they're hitting retail right now. And one of the big things was all the quote-unquote upgrades. One of the things that they Colt touted, was the fact that they had gone to a different alloy for the frame. And they talked about how that strengthens the window in the frame. For those of you that are not really into the revolvers, the window is where, when the crane swings in with the cylinder comes to rest when the gun's in battery. In the past, there was a lot of talk. I will tell you, I've put thousands of rounds through this, both 357 Magnum, plus P, whatever. I've never had an issue. I don't know if anybody had, but there was talk that there was a weakness in the original Colt frame. So it's been beefed up, and that's one of the things they talk about. There's a little bit difference in the trigger pull that they have now from what it was. They did do some things right. They kept the vent rib, which without the vent rib, it's not a Colt Python as far as I'm concerned.
That's right.
True.
The big oversized trigger, I like that a lot. The one thing that they did do that I think was a big upgrade is on the front of the originals, the front blade is pinned. So unless you are someone that has the tools and has a pretty good background in gunsmithing, you really shouldn't try to change that out yourself. The new one has it's on with hex bolt, so you can change it out at will. You can put anything on there that you might want. All in all, I haven't fired one. I've read a lot on those, and I'm just tickled that a new generation is going to be able to own one of these. They are the old ones. I heard some people complaining, saying, "Well, the value is going to go down." I haven't seen that at all.
No, not at all. Chief, have you carried this in the course of being on duty and stuff? I mean, was it ever a duty gun for you?
Yeah, when I bought this in 1978, I actually at that point we had to carry our own gun, and this is what I carried on duty. I carried it for well over a year, and then switched out. They issued a gun, and I carried that. And then when I became a detective, we were issued a Model 60. If you remember those.
Oh yeah.
And we had no radios, we had no anything. It was like, go out, and if you come back, we know you're okay.
Right.
So they did change it so we could carry what they called a backup gun. They never said what that could be. So I carried my Model 60 on my ankle, and I had the nicest shoulder rig you've ever seen for this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, Chief, because we like you, and you're moving to a new stage of your life, we'd be willing to just swap that out, even trade for a new one. I'm just saying, because it'd be our little contribution. You could carry it as a sheriff. So it's something to think about. You don't have to say now.
We could put it in the case of the Hall of Fame.
Well, I've always wanted to say this to somebody, so this is probably the perfect time. I will have my people contact your people.
Yeah,
I don't even know what that means, but I think
I
that's
know.
it.
I'm still looking for people. I don't know. I still don't. Wonderful gun of the week.
Beautiful gun.
And JC, I mean, the chief, the chief said all there is to say. I mean, I can't believe. I mean, he actually came to the table as the guest gun of the week holder, and he delivered. I'm impressed. And
I'm glad he carried it. It also said that, believe it or not, that they actually issued it to the Colorado State Police, the Georgia State Police, and the Florida Highway Patrol. All were issued 4-inch pythons. Yep. That's pretty good carrying stuff back in the day. So so I guess the new one's only available in 4 1/4 or 6-inch barrels, where the old one was like 2.5, 3, 4, 6, and 8. So. There are some changes there, but very interesting. He did a great job. I was very impressed with the Chief's handgun knowledge.
There you go.
Thank you. Hey, Eric, next time you get a guest on and you give him the gun of the week, you need to vet him to make sure that he doesn't know or he doesn't, do better than me.
Well, that's not hard.
On the gun of the week.
I don't want to say anything, but there's only one person sitting around this table that's on probation.
What does that have to do with?
I don't know. The chief came in, delivered. You
kind of threw me under the bus when I came on and said that here's the gun of the week. Do it.
Well, he's making us look bad. The chief's making us look bad, and he's making me look bad. John is always prepared, and so are you, Eric and Ed. I don't know about you, but
Chief, I'm just saying, Chief, if this whole sheriff thing don't work out, I mean, we have a seat here. I'm just saying.
Yeah, John's going to stay in that state up north. We'll have that empty seat.
Wow.
No, we don't pay much, but we have it.
Temporary. I can hardly wait to get back with you guys.
So, guys, before we go to break, I want to jump on a caller who just called in. You're on with OnTarget. How you doing?
You there, caller?
Yeah. Yes. Good evening. Good afternoon.
Hello there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. This is Sheriff Dave Phelan. I'm the sheriff there in Fairfield County. How's everything going?
Wonderful, Sheriff. How are you?
I am doing very well. Hey, I just wanted to make a couple comments about the sheriff's office. And, during campaign times, you hear a lot of different negative things. But just to say that, the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office has done a terrific job. The men and women do a good job every day. And we do have a safe and secure community. And, we've done some surveys, and about 90% of the people agree that we have a good sheriff's office. So, during campaign time, a lot of things are said. But I just wanted to kind of set the record straight a little bit that we do a terrific job. And, I couldn't say I just wanted to make sure that listeners understood that.
Sure, and Fairfield County now, I mean, it's not like it used to be. I mean, just like Delaware County, I mean, it's really becoming an extension of the metropolis of the city of Columbus and Franklin County. So there's always, it's not the country anymore like it used to be at one time, and you're seeing some of the big city things now.
A lot of growth.
Tons of growth, but. No, we appreciate you calling in, and absolutely. I mean, it's a wonderful place to be.
Yes, yeah, I agree. So I just wanted to put my 2 cents worth in. We hear a lot of negative things during campaign time.
Sure.
And I just am so proud of the men and women, the job they've done, and I just wanted to express that.
Sure, absolutely. We appreciate you calling in. That's the sheriff of Fairfield County right there, guys.
The current sheriff, yeah.
Current sheriff of Fairfield County.
Good deal.
Guys, when we come back from the break, we're going to get to we're going to talk about some of the solutions that are out there that we've recognized and that we're trying to make everyone else recognize that some things that can be done to affect gun violence in our communities.
Oh, so we're going to do it instead of the government.
We're going to propose. Well, I would love to do it. So, so when we come back from the break, that's going to be our discussion. We're on Target, broadcasting live from the studios of LEPD Firearms and Range. We'll be right back after the break.
Home of burgers, breakfast, and big boy.
Your ABC 6 first warning weather for today, becoming mostly sunny, dry, and cool, high of 46. Tonight, skies are clearing, dry and a bit chilly, low of 28. For Sunday, lots of sunshine, warmer, high of 60. It's currently 43 degrees on your severe weather station, News Radio 610 WTVN.
The latest headlines and breaking news when it happens. News Radio 610 WTVN.
Welcome back to On Target. I'm your host, Eric, joined today in the LEPD studios. My father, Coner Phil, sits to my left. Big Ed sits to my far right. And Chief Mike Tussey sits to my immediate right. JC is on the phone with us. Guys, you can't listen to the nightly news, pick up the paper, or check the internet without seeing a politician, an uneducated media host, or talking heads all giving their opinions on something they really know nothing about at all. Something that invokes emotions amongst us all. But the difference is, in these people, is they let the emotions drive the policy. We've now said it for almost 7 years. Put NICS in the hands of the private sector, we'll fix it.
Yes, we will.
Have store owners and law enforcement in the room when discussing how to impact gun violence in our communities, and we'll fix it. Demand that politicians and anti-gun groups have an intellectually honest discussion about firearms and violence, and it will be fixed. But that's not what happens. We see it time and time and time again, the hypocrisy, the negligence, the dishonesty of politicians when it comes to gun violence. We'll not see progress with gun violence by reducing magazine capacity, by only permitting someone to purchase one firearm a month, or by banning a bayonet lug, or by keeping suppressors from being sold over the counter at gun stores. These are not honest solutions. Today we want to talk about some real solutions. One you can talk to your neighbor about and articulate how it will truly impact our communities. We're not going to be able to go in depth due to time, but very soon we'll be releasing a video that will be in-depth, informative, and undisputable. Remember, there's no one thing that can be done to suddenly make our communities safe. Nothing, no one thing, but multiple things need to happen, and each will help to contribute to a safer community without impacting safe, responsible gun owners. We've discussed this at length, but it's worth repeating. We can do better. So, Chief, Ed, and you guys are all in law enforcement. One of the first things, and it came about again this week, and it drives me crazy, but there is hope in this regards, is stolen guns. We had a pawn shop here in Columbus get robbed at gunpoint, and a number of firearms were stolen out of that robbery. Okay, so presumably these guns are on the street, and they're on the street either to be used in crimes, to be sold on the street, or to be sold to others for money. Safe to assume, right? This is, and you would think that the entity that watches over this, like the ATF and local law enforcement, that we as being a store in this community, we would know how this occurred to protect ourselves.
Right.
We would know what guns are out there, so if somebody comes in to sell one of these guns, we can alert authorities, right? But that doesn't happen. This is what we get. I'm going to read verbatim. This is an important message from the ATF. A federal licensee in Franklin County, Ohio, has experienced a burglary that resulted in the theft of firearms. Please ensure the security of both your inventory and property, and report all suspicious behavior. Not, hey, you know what, be on the lookout for this car, or if it was a burglary, hey, watch for these things, signs, or wait a second, this is the list of firearms stolen in this burglary.
I was just getting ready to say, how about a hot sheet?
Absolutely not.
Nothing.
Guys, this is ridiculous.
Not a thing.
This is ridiculous. We can do better, and we need to demand it.
I agree.
Well, one of the problems that you have is politicians spend way too much time having knee-jerk reactions to special interest groups. And the time they spend doing that, they could easily fund and put together a database. You guys take guns in on trade. I'm sure you record them. You know everything about them. There's nothing says that couldn't go into a database. You guys could open that up if that's on a sheet that this is stolen out of a robbery, a burglary, whatever it may be. And it's very possible the person walking into the store is totally innocent.
Exactly.
You know, they bought it wherever. But at least that tells you, I need to contact law enforcement. I need to get something going. That's the problem. The problem is we spend way too much time dealing with and chasing the tail of law-abiding people who are gun owners instead of dealing with the problem, which are criminals who steal guns, put them into the public hands, the bad public hands, and then we shake our heads when we get the instance that happen with these drive-by shootings or whatever.
Right. Well, and I will say, I mean, this has been a hot button for us for a number of years because we contend that that database should be available to everyone. So if you're at a gun show, if you're on arms list, if you're just buying a firearm from someone you don't know, why wouldn't you want to put it in your app or whatever to see if it's a stolen gun? I will say we're making progress in this regards. The Attorney General, Dave Yost, has heard us on this, and there is progress. So I will say that we have been heard on this, but it's something that we need to make sure continues and goes through. And I'm hopeful that we will have something in this regards. But it's just this week highlighted once again at how much of a disconnect there is. And it's not to place blame on, fellow agencies and so forth. I mean, we can all do better, but it's to highlight that, look, this is an area where certainly we can do better in our industry,
especially since in this business, people bring in guns to sell or trade in places like LEPD or other gun stores around the state or the city. And there should be something to back check that. We're always behind the eight ball on that.
Always.
Always.
So another hot topic, and this one, it has some political ramifications. And Chief, you and I talked about this week. Today in this country, you don't have to be a U.S. citizen to buy a firearm.
That's right.
Now, that could be a topic for a different day on whether we should be allowing non-U.S. citizens. Now, we're not talking about illegal people here. We're talking about people who are here on green cards and who aren't U.S. citizens. And basically, how that works is that if you and this is what is crazy. If you are not a U.S. citizen, the law says you can't purchase a firearm unless you meet one of a couple criteria. And the criteria are pretty out there, stuff you don't see every day. You have to have a letter from your embassy or you're here on official military business. It's stuff like that where you really wouldn't see that in the normal course of a business. The last exception, though, is if you have a valid hunting license. Hunting license that you can print off at home on your own. So we are allowing people to go to a gun store with a valid hunting license and buy a Glock, a handgun, or buy a revolver that has no presumable place in the hunting world. So it's a loophole. Now, to further that, we're allowing those same people to get concealed carry. So in essence, we're saying that, hey, look, we're going to issue you a concealed carry permit, and we know, wink, wink, that the only way that you can get a gun to carry concealed is to go get a hunting license. Does that make sense?
Is that not exactly what took place in Florida?
Exactly,
at the military
Ed.
base?
And Chief, you brought up something this week that I hadn't even thought about. We have a segment of this population who are not U.S. citizens who have come from countries that don't have a government in place. And when they come over here, there's no way for us to check background, identities, birth dates, or anything.
No.
And they're included in this.
Yeah, and that's the problem, because without a formalized government, if somebody comes here, let's make this really simple. Somebody immigrates here from Canada. You can go find any information you want, from birth certificates to driver's license to did they graduate from high school. Many of the Middle Eastern, North African, African countries have no formalized government. Therefore, they don't have any of that data, any of that. So when people get here and they say, what's your name? It's whatever they say at that day. What is your date of birth? It's whatever they say that day. We have no idea who many of these people are that are coming into the country right now.
And so not only do we not know, and they could be, law-abiding people who want to be here for the right reasons.
Absolutely.
But rest assured, there's some that aren't. And we're saying, you know what? Go get yourself a hunting license, and we can get you into that Glock today, or we can get you into that revolver.
Now, see, that is something that can be remedied pretty quick.
Right.
We identified what needs to change the law, or change whatever you need to do to not allow that to happen.
Or if we do indeed want to allow non-citizens to purchase firearms for hunting, then let's stipulate that this only applies to hunting rifles or items that would be allowed to be hunting in your area. But to have a blanket thing like that, it's just and then when something happens, we ask ourselves, well, how did this happen? I mean, come on, it's obvious. It's standing right there in front of us.
They shoot themselves in the foot and they wonder why it hurts.
Exactly.
Excuse the pun.
Yep. Exactly. So it's more of these topics that we're going to be discussing on that video. The other thing too, and Chief, you and I talked about this, we need to get tough on some of this crime. We need to make it so darn painful to purchase a gun for someone in a straw purchase that when that guy asks you, who is a convicted felon, that you say, no, you know what, it's not worth it, because if you go do something stupid and stuff, I'm going to be in that same boat. And we don't take that serious. And we've talked about that, Chief, with those 2 officers who died in Westerville. We don't take it serious enough until something like that happens.
Well, and of course, Tony Morelli, I worked with him for 20 years, and a great guy, great officer, great family man. Eric Joring, same thing. He was one of my academy students, just was an all-star. And ultimately, at the end of the day, what it came down to is a guy who should never have legally possessed a weapon gave somebody $100 to go buy him a gun. Now, my thought of that is at the point that occurs, whatever the shooter is charged with, that person should be charged with that also. If you do that, then it becomes so draconian. A guy goes, what are you going to do with the gun? I don't trust you. I know your background.
Right.
We may reduce it, of course, back to the stolen guns on the street, but at least it's a start. It's somewhere that we can say this is our jumping off point.
Right, and it happens all the time.
It does.
So let's take that out of the mix. Let's take, the girlfriend out of the mix who's buying the gun for the gangbanger, boyfriend. I mean, let's take that out of the mix and start pecking away at this at the problem. So, all right, did I get you fired up, Ed?
Yes, you did. It goes right back to our conversation last week with the judge.
Yeah, right. It's
allowing the guy who's in a domestic violence situation, not stopping him from going out and purchasing another gun.
Right. It's just we're just not serious enough about it. Well, guys, that is it. That is the end of the hour. Do you know next week it is a couple of days before election, before the Ohio primary, before the election for sheriff in Fairfield County, and so we want to wish all those candidates good luck, and we'll be back next week talking about and Pawpaw.
Yep. You want to make sure you turn your clocks ahead 1 hour tonight. Actually, it's supposed to be at 2 p.m. or 2 a.m.
You gonna wake up and do that, Pawpaw?
Yeah, I do. Well, I'm up anyway. Using the rest.
We also want to thank the chief for stopping by today and
so
sitting with us. And next week, we're also going to talk about some new products in the market, some new accessories you can't live without. Thanks, M, on the backside for keeping the songs rolling and for putting up with us for another week. So we're on target. Stop by and see us. We still have some great sales on some used firearms. We're at 999 Bethel Road. Have a good week.
See you all later.
Did we survive him?
Always.
Mm-hmm. Hold on 1 second, Em. I'm going to
Okay.
turn off the Facebook feed.
I'm sorry I had to throw you under the bus, Ed, but when you start jamming on